military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall never surrender.
My Prepper brothers and sisters, you've arrived at the bunker. Grab a cup of joe, a stout tea, or maybe your favorite adult beverage. This is the Prepper's place for open discussion on whatever the hell we want. Brought to you whatever the hell way we want. This is the new format of Top's Bunker. So sit down, kick back, post up, relax, and welcome to the bunker.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Military-industrial complex.
And we as people will get to promised land.
We will make America strong again, proud again, safe again. We will make America great again.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like. Welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Leave a voicemail to get on the show, speakpipe.com/tops, or use a live message option on our Facebook group, Top's Bunker. Email us at shtf@topsbunker.com or visit the site, topsbunker.com. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We've got a great show for you. Tonight, Jeremy, Buddy, and myself will discuss finding like-minded people, vetting those individuals, and choosing leadership, as well as much more, as part of a series that we're doing about prepper groups. Now, you could describe this episode as a part 2, but really it's much less formal than that. We're just going to toss them out there when there's room on the schedule. Now, as you know, there are lots of prepper survivalists and homesteaders out there that are actively looking for and seeking out like-minded folks to join forces with, and that goes for us as well. I'm comfortable speaking for all the hosts of the bunker when I tell you that we're always on the hunt for other people and other groups to get involved with, but it's not easy, not at all. In fact, I would say it straddles the fence between challenging and next to impossible, especially for someone like me, who's not very sociable, somewhat of an introvert, extremely curious, but dangerously suspicious of others before I even approach them. Now, I've never been the type of person who offers his trust up front. In fact, I am rigidly embedded on the side that preaches trust is earned, not given. That's just me. And therein lies the rub. Prepper survivalists are inherently suspicious of others, especially those who are not like-minded. But how do we find out if someone or a group of people are like-minded if we're not willing or able to get ourselves out there and mingle and interact and even network with other folks? Well, tonight we're going to try to tackle that challenge and others like vetting and choosing leadership. So let's get to it.
In a time where Jeremy accidentally mutes himself.
It's like one man, the world.
And a damn space bar.
All right.
That's actually how that happened.
What's that?
Well, my screen went black and I hit space, and I guess that's that makes it go mute. And I was like, you son of a,
Does it really?
Yeah, I guess so.
Interesting. Let me try mine. So it's a space bar. Let me see. Nope, that didn't work on my computer.
Weird.
All right, so we're talking about prepper groups. It's part of a series, but we're not numbering the series, and we're not really going to stick to any kind of a schedule on it. We're just going to throw them out there when we do. Now, we've already talked about a few episodes ago. We talked about prepper groups, and it was kind of a mix mashed together. It was Jeremy's brain unloading, basically.
Oh, Lord.
And tonight we're just going to do some quick focusing in on vetting a little bit and leadership, that sort of thing. And also maybe even a little bit of where you would go to find like-minded people or a prepper group. Now, as far as I'm concerned, what I mentioned in the last episode on this was that I would never join another prepper group. And I use air quotes when I say that, because I've been there, done that. And I am more interested now. I feel like I'm at a different level now where I'm ready for something like a mag, you know, or just folks that I know that are we're just automatically mutual assistance, you know. So I would look for like-minded people. For me, I would look for homesteaders, conventions, farm conventions, or gardening conventions, or any of that kind of stuff, beekeeping conventions, anywhere where you can meet people that are like-minded and just meet them, not walk up to them and say, hey, you want to be in my prepper group? You know, it's like you just meet people. It's that sort of thing. And then you naturally, you have this sort of natural either do or don't connect. You know, and that's just kind of where I'm at the point. But I did start out looking for prepper groups, and it is a great way to start out. I've been down that road, and I know where I'm at now. So, you know.
Well, that's how I found your podcast and the online, your Facebook group. I was actually actively looking and ran across, you know, you were in my location at the time. So I was like, hey, you know, let's check these guys out and see what they're all about. So that's how I even, you know, came across you guys on my radar.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Oklahoma.
Yep. It's okay.
You still got snow on the ground?
No, we haven't had it in a little while. I mean, we had a lot of rain this week. Hell, we had a tornado. Group I'm associated with, they took a small group of people down to a place called Ada. It's like South Central Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, I know it.
Yeah, they went down there and they're doing their thing. So good for them. We were working with a group on the northwest side of Oklahoma right now, search and rescue. So bringing them into the fold, partnering with them, and seeing what we can do with the partnership there. So
we had a pretty good snowstorm 2 nights ago. Was it 2 nights ago? It was on Tuesday night. I went to bed. It was just a windy, and it was really getting windy bad. And I had to wake up at 4:30 that morning for something. And when I did, my alarm went off. I got up, and I was about to go take a shower, and the wind was, I mean, there was like a blizzard or something, and it was so loud. It was my what do you call it, the hoop, what do they call it, a hoop green, what do you call those things, the greenhouse that it's a hoop
house,
what's it called,
hoop house
or hoop tunnel or something like that.
High tunnel.
High tunnel.
I think it's technically called a high tunnel, but I call it a hoop house.
Well, I used to call it a greenhouse till you told me not to, so now I'm trying to think of something else to call it.
Yeah, usually, I mean, technically a greenhouse has the glass panels in it.
Right. Yeah. Well, it had collapsed in the previous snowstorm where we got 12 inches, I believe. I know Rhonda said 14 on the podcast. She was mistaken. We did not get 14 inches. That's a ton of snow. We got 10 to 12 inches, which is a lot. And it collapsed. And the metal bars that are in it, which were pretty strong, they're steel, they actually bent and broke and, you know, all that. So I actually was able to push it back up into shape and get it going. Well, this next storm that came just a few nights ago on Tuesday night, it just finished the job. It just, I mean, the whole thing is just bent and broken. The metal has like broken apart. Everywhere where there was a crease before from the snow has now been snapped.
Oh,
and
man.
It's done. Now, it wasn't that expensive, so that's a good thing. I think it was only like about $150. So we knew going in, we actually bought 2 of them. There's a brand new one still sitting in the shop because they were so cheap. We knew that probably only will last 1 or 2 seasons. So we figured we'd get a backup just in case, you know.
That's kind of how I was with this greenhouse that I'm almost finished with. I got it from Harbor Freight. It wasn't very, well, I say it wasn't very expensive. It was a little bit pricey. And reading the reviews, I knew it wasn't something like super, fabulous. And I just started Googling images and seeing how people modified theirs, and doing a frame out from the inside, and, you know, adding shelves and all this stuff. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, I can do that. I can totally do that. So that's what I started doing. Just started framing it out with treated 2x4s. And we had a really hard windstorm the past 2 days and some severe weather. And it did not fall. It did not get rattled around. Everything inside is fine. You know, we've already got plants coming up from inside. So,
dude, you built that thing like a Viking longhouse. I've seen the pictures.
It was like Fort Knox, man.
I mean, you're not. Yeah, you're. I mean, a full size grizzly bear is not tearing that thing down.
That was my intent. You know, if I'm going to spend money on a thing, I want that thing to last. And I can hear the voice of my dad in the background. He's like, if you're going to do it right. If you're not going to do it right, then don't do it. So, and I want it to last. And, you know, so that's why I went with treated wood. And but the problem is it's got these, like, because it's not super sturdy the way that it comes, I have to take individual measurements, do individual cuts, make sure it's all shimmied together correctly, you know, sinking screws.
You didn't have to, you got to.
Yeah. I mean, and I have a tendency to overbuild. But the wind was strong enough to knock over one of the wood piles that we just stacked of all that fresh wood that from the trees that we got taken down. But the greenhouse is perfectly fine. So. Oh
yeah. Well, and buddy, he called me on a FaceTime, whatever you call those things, video call, and he wanted to ask me some questions about the build. I'm looking at it going, there's nothing I can say. This thing is built like it was built like a house. I mean, it's done. It's done. Walk away, solid. Dude. Walk away.
It looks very solid right now.
Wait till I start on the chicken house. Those fucking chickens ain't going nowhere.
Well, we kind of got off the rails, but I was just going to say we had a snowstorm that came through, and we still got, I mean, it's been pretty nice, but very cold, and now it's starting to heat up. But in the shadows, the shady areas, you still got a couple little snow piles here and there. But
hey, I'm hearing rumbles of of another polar vortex coming in, like end of March, first part of April. So April Fools.
So much for that global warming.
Mm-hmm. I wonder whatever happened with that.
Well, she grew up. She's no longer a teenager.
Oh yeah, that's right.
How dare you?
We have to. You have to call it climate change now because that didn't stick.
Okay. Oh my gosh!
Just don't call it climate transition. I want to hear it. I don't want to go down that road.
It's trans climate.
It's trans. Yeah.
Transitory. The climate is transitory. It means it's going to. Yeah. Kind of like the economy is transitory, or inflation. That's what it was, inflation.
So prepper groups. So buddy, you were going to try and, you know what, let me put you this way. You were going to talk about like, where would you want to go maybe to look up? And you said you were looking up, you were actively looking up prepper groups when you found our podcast years ago. If you wanted to look up, let's say you wanted to find some like-minded people in your area, which is Oklahoma, what would you do?
Well, there's different things you can go look. And I started out, back in the day looking for, my area, looking just on Facebook. That's where I first started out. Also, and there's a lot of, on Facebook, there's a lot of, clubs out there. You can get into just about anything you want to, from baking to cars to greenhouse to gardening to preppers. There's
everything. So hiking is a good one too.
Hiking, I've done that too, which is a great starting point. Just I'd say use it with caution. You're going to have to meet these people, but use it with caution. But it's a great starting point. Let's say about 6-8 years ago, there was something called Meetup. That is a website that you can go on with people in your area, and somebody will organize, a meetup. So I got on the meetups and I was wanting to get back in shape. Went to a couple hiking clubs, started meeting some people, and then didn't see any preparedness clubs, but I started, just started meeting different people in these different organizations and stuff through meetups. So it's out there. It's pretty decent in my area now. It's kind of, I guess people have moved on to different, social media stuff. So it's kind of, they're still using Meetup, but
yeah, Meetup's still a thing. I did look it up last time we were on.
Yeah. So,
and I think you should do your mileage like at least 100 miles. I would say that's even more if you want to, but I would say you shouldn't be looking like in a 20-mile radius.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You're going to have to go pretty far out. Yeah.
So yeah. And just keep in mind, if you're networking, or trying to find a network or mag or tribe or family or survival group or, whatever it may be, if you travel at all, 100 miles, you might be in their neck of the woods and need them. So it's not a bad idea to get some local connections like that in areas that you frequent, might be 100 miles away. So yeah, you never know. Another group in Oklahoma that I found is there's a guy out there. He's called Viking Preparedness. Pastor Joe Fox. He's a ex-Special Forces guy, and he was a SEER instructor back on the teams and back in the day. And he teaches survival. He teaches a lot of
SEER. That's pretty
classes.
Serious.
Yeah. This guy, he's been there, done it, and it's serious, very serious guy. He has in his Patreon, in his paid subscription, they do some things where they do meetups, and he tries to connect people in your in whatever area you're from, and he's got people all over the globe in his Patreon group. So that's if you want to spend I think it might be like $6 a month, might be $3. I'd have to really check it. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's a good. If you want to get it dialed in, I think that would be a good starting point. If you wanted to really reach out. Plus, he teaches classes too, so I mean, you're going to learn some skills you might not have. Which is another great place to meet people is in some kind of class that you, because people are there. You're taking a survival class or fire starting or bushcraft class. Well, they're like-minded people right there. They might not be in your area, but I mean, they might have family or friends, or you never know who you can meet and make a connection with. So there's another one out there called PrepperNet, and if you listen to any other podcast, and that's how I found out about it. It's advertised through, and I won't mention the names of the podcast, but it's a nationwide group, and I think it's another paid subscription thing where you go on there and you can find out, the different people in your area. It's like a posted board or a poster board, or you post, hey, I'm in this area. My name's Buddy, and I'm in this area. I'm looking for like-minded people, and then it's a connection point. So it's not a bad thing if you're out there, getting desperate. But
yeah, I'm looking it up right now. It looks the website looks pretty professional.
Yeah, they're legit.
We're join over 120 preppers nationwide is what they claim.
Yeah, they're legit. I haven't really dove into it because it's not my. I got a group, and I'm kind of like you, Keith. I'm not looking for a militia or anything like that. I just have a group of like-minded people I've met along.
You got a mag.
Well, yeah, and it's a mag or a network, basically. I mean, and the difference that I think between the mag and the mutual assistant group and the network is network's a little looser. It's more of a prearranged agreements. So I raise cattle. Bam, another guy might raise chickens. Another family might, do a construction company, and so we might trade out things. Some people might make butter or have cattle, dairy farm or something. So, it's just it's an agreement that could work out, and it's kind of like the old ways, growing up in rural Oklahoma. If somebody on a Saturday afternoon, if somebody would want to raise a barn, man, we'd go help out, or somebody was building a house and needed it wired for electricity, then, family go out and potluck it. And and everybody.
Well, that's what I consider a mutual assistant group. That's what I picture is as people who know each other, who are all pretty much like-minded because they know each other.
Yeah, it's a community. I mean, there's a lot of terms that are the same. Basically, they call them different things. A tribe, I'm calling it my tribe, or a mutual assistance group. But a lot of the terms out there it's the same thing. But
right. But there are actual prepper groups out there. Oh yeah, and it's still a thing.
Yeah, and there's actual militias out there too. So look for them. Let's see. So that's about the online. I'm just not really into the online thing, but you can go on Reddit as well. You can, I would say the two places to really start out would be Facebook groups and Reddit. Just go on Reddit and look at, something. You'll get some good information and watch people go after each other on Reddit. So it's entertaining at least, but there's some good information on there as well.
Right. And you can also start your own group on let's say Meetup, which is a way to do it. I think you have to pay to start a group rather than to join one. To start one, I think you have to pay like $40 a month or $35, whatever it is. I forget. It wasn't very expensive. Basically, if you do form a group and you got people coming in, everybody can kind of pitch in for the monthly price if you really want to do it. If the $30 or $40 bothers you.
Yeah, and what did I do? I went on this hiking group. Every time you met up, they would take a couple dollars from you to try to help, ease the pain of the organizer and stuff. So,
right.
I didn't really understand, but I was like, hey, here's a couple bucks, you're asking for $2. I got a $5. Here you go. Kind of thing. But
some are very serious too. I mean, I was in a group and, it really wasn't working out, and I got kicked out. I've told this story before. I won't go into it too big, but I did get kicked out, and there were people in the group, unbeknownst to me, that were actually sided with me and immediately called me up and said, "Fuck it, we're done. Let's go. Let's do our own thing." And I was like, "Okay, great. Let's do our own thing." And then we formed Off Grid Texas, which is where the original podcast name came from.
Yeah, and I think I know some of those people you were with. I think we talked offline a little bit about it. So, yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, and and when I was in that group, there was another guy, and him and I went out and we met some other prepper groups. We kind of went into it like a clandestine kind of a thing. We were going out for intel. So we were going out as we're looking for a prepper group. Can we join your group kind of a thing? It's kind of like recon, And we went to this one and we met these couple of guys at a park, and they seemed fairly nice. It was in Texas. But the guy was like, yeah, I've got, 40, 50 acres, whatever it was. And he's like, I'm going to need help building the structures, the houses, the cabins, putting it all together. And he had a piece of paper. He was drawing it out for us and like showing us his big idea. He's like, and I got a guy who's living out there in a tent right now, and he's willing to help too. And I was like, okay, so people are going to join your group. They're going to help you build this thing. And what happens if, shit does hit the fan and we need to come? Are you going to allow these people to come back in? He's like, well, if you helped build, then yeah. And I'm thinking in my head, no way. He's not going to do that. He's going to get people to help him build his property and do the labor on it. And when time comes, if anybody shows up, he's just not going to let them on. You got to be careful, man. There's scammers out there.
Yeah, there's scammers, and then there's a little bit of faith that you have to go in. But and the cool thing about it is eventually everybody's going to show their colors. You're going to, time will show everybody's colors, especially when you get into a situation where you might be out training and it's hot, or there's some adversity, or it's raining or cold or something. You're going to see, and I hear, 20% of the people do 80% of the work, or vice versa. It's more like 90-10, I think, but you'll see people's real colors at that point. So
that is true.
You can see that in family groups, for instance, we, I've talked about before, we've been on the search for land for quite some time. And, I've got family members who will send me a thing. We'll go look at it, and they show up and they're like, oh yeah, dude, look at all this deer sign. But yeah, it's kind of far from where we want to live. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, yeah, but it's not for you. He's like, well, I'm going to still come hunt. And I'm like, No, you're not. No, you're not. It's just, I think that a lot of people, when they're looking for groups of any kind, I think that ultimately all humans really, they want what they want. It's rare to find someone who wants what the group wants or what the group needs, really.
Well, at the end of the day, you're looking out for number one, which is you. So, when you play poker, you're not going to play your worst hand,
Yeah, no.
Go all in unless, it's a technique I use every once in a while. So don't play poker with me, but because you never know what I have.
You would lose all your money here.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much where you're going down as far as how to look for? Because I was thinking about, you can find people, like-minded people at like church, or if you join like a volunteer fire department, that's another way of doing it. There's a lot of people who are handy that that work at fire departments, farm type places or homesteaders. If you go to like farmers markets or whatever, you can meet a lot of people that way. These are all like unconventional ways. And then of course prepper conventions, prepper cons. They're all over the place. I think you've got one in Oklahoma, don't you? That comes through there.
Yeah, there's one. I think it's in a place called Pryor, Oklahoma. It's like way northeast corner of the state. I'm actually going to a few. That's
in the mountains.
Coming up in I think Tennessee and possibly Kentucky. I think this year, and in North Carolina. Hey, Jeremy, you might have to hook up and go to one. The big one out there. I think it's in the fall, but we'll see. I'll hit you up with it. But those are great places, and they have trainings and it's a good event. Go pinch a tent. Don't go to one of these things. You want to go out and camp out. That way, at night you can go by the fire and talk to people, meet people, and take the trainings during the day. Learn how to skin a cat to eat it, or whatever it may be. And
I'm not the kind of person that easily walks up to a group of people and can network. I just never really been like that. I don't know. It's just kind of the way that I am. But if you're doing something with a group of people, you just immediately, just by attrition, you just start to know them. If you're taking a class, you're doing this, you're doing that, or just hanging out by a fire. That's another thing. But and I think a lot of people that are into prepping I think a lot of people are like that too. So those prepper cons are a great place to meet like-minded people, because they may not be the type of people that, can openly walk around and just start talking to people and that sort of thing. So it's a great place to you've got something in common there that you can talk about.
Yeah.
Like I know when I go to the gun shows, you talk to all kinds of people that I wouldn't even walk up to like in the street or at something like the grocery store or something. But when you're at the gun show, you're sitting there talking about guns, and all of a sudden you get into conversations and you're like, oh my God, like 20 minutes just went by. And now I know this guy's whole life story.
That's true. People just get diarrhea of the mouth, man. It's very true.
Yeah.
But, these unconventional, I won't call them unconventional, just start striking up conversations with people at your, local coffee shop, just getting to know people a little bit. You see the guy with the Gadsden flag up in your street, your neighborhood, pretty much a like-minded person, go up there and, I've saw the guy, he's got American flag and a Gadsden flag. And so just happened to be walking the dog one day. I was like, hey man, what's going on? You a vet or something? He's like, no. Go, I saw your flag. I like that, and we just struck up conversation. Well, come to find out, like-minded. And I told him a little bit, hey, let's get in this neighborhood watch thing. And, you watch my house, I'll watch yours. And so struck up, a little allegiance there, just in a couple conversations, just walking the dog. So,
neighborhood watch is a great way to meet people too, as well, especially if they're in your own neighborhood. That you've just basically just made a MAG right there, a mutual assistance group. Well, which reminds me, have you ever seen the movie The Watch?
With
Ben Stiller and it is hysterical, man. It's about how they become a neighborhood watch. You gotta watch it.
Okay, it's on my list.
Just definitely watch it, man. You're gonna laugh your ass off there, and you'll watch it more than once. But yeah, that's a great neighborhood watch is a great way. If you have one, join it. And you can always quit or create one. Talk to some people and say, hey, we should maybe do something like this. Anybody interested?
Yeah, some places I like to, and lately I've not really looking for a mag, but I'm looking for a network. I'm trying to find like-minded people and pull some intelligence of what's going on because I'm in a new area. So I'm trying to find out what's really going on here. And like, for instance, today in a conversation with the internet guy was coming to do some internet work because we were out of internet and had to move some things around. Well, he was telling me about a mafia organization and what they're up to. And I was like, no shit, just in conversation, I learned a little bit about them, the local, not a militia, it's a mafia. They're actually a mafia.
That's a little different.
Yeah. But I mean, I got some intel of this guy just in a conversation about, internet and internet cameras and stuff. So, but yeah, man,
I'm sorry. I'm just picturing a prepper group in like lower Manhattan and they all sound like they got the accent. They're like, hey man, you see my chickens, huh? Just a bunch of like,
Joey, you got that?
Yeah,
Joey, bring that chicken thing over here.
Let's go to the Falkland Islands, I just, every time I picture that, I'm like, there's a mafia prepper group? That's awesome.
Well, it's a story for another time, but I have in my family. So about half of my family's Italian, and we have it in our family up north in New Jersey and New York. But that's a story for another whole other time.
I got a great story to go along with that next time.
Well, after living there, I learned a lot. So we'll have to have a what do they call that?
I know a guy. I make a phone call. I know a guy.
Forget about it.
Yeah. And they're all named Carmine or Joey or
Yo, usually,
like
come here.
Yeah.
Forget about it, man. I got you hooked up. I know a guy.
These two youths.
Youths don't have nothing to worry about. I got your back, man.
Yeah.
Did you say youths?
Oh man, we're doing it again. All right.
Yeah.
Let's not get off the rails. So what I'm thinking is it's a great point in the show to go to vetting, I think, because vetting is let's do it this way. The definition of vetting is the process of thoroughly investigating an individual, company, or other entity before deciding to go forward with a joint project. Cambridge Dictionary defines vetting as the action of examining somebody or someone or something carefully to make certain that they are or it is acceptable or suitable for something you're doing. And that's a lot of words. Vetting actually came from the old days, which was a veterinarian, and veterinarians would be called in to vet horses before the horse races to see what condition they were, if they were capable of going through the race without getting injured and all. That was called vetting. So that's where the actual word comes from. Vetting is it's an interesting thing because how do you vet somebody? I mean, if you're vetting for somebody for a job or a company or something like that, you're going to do background checks and all that kind of stuff. Now, you can't really do that unless you're connected. You can't really do that. You can't walk up and say, hey, what's your full name, and your social security number and your last 5 addresses. That's not going to work.
Well, I in my notes, and again, this also has to go back to the fact that I've never, been in a group. So some of the concept of being in a group would be, new to me. And I think that there's probably, a lot of different ways to go through this, especially in this day and age. Social media is a huge tool that people may not even think about using. But if there is a social media presence on someone, if you do enough digging, you're going to find at least something topical, some kind of interesting information to kind of push you down the line to find out more. And that kind of, lets you... Let's say you go onto Facebook and, you start digging, you can pretty much figure out a person's views, beliefs, what their, personality is based on.
If they're on social media.
Yeah. If they're on social media. And a lot of that has to do with what they share,
And if they're not, they're probably a good vet. I mean, if they're not, that's probably a good sign, if they're not putting their stuff out there. I mean,
I've got stuff that I put out there, but I put it out there unabashedly. Can it come back and bite me in the butt maybe later on? I don't know. Sorry, there's a baby in the background who sounds like she's losing her mind.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Are you babysitting tonight?
Yeah. So last night and then tonight and probably tomorrow, since our new grandbaby was born, last night. We have the
congratulations.
Kids. Oh, thank you. Number 8. I keep telling them there's causation,
Yeah. I'm not drinking the water anywhere around your
yeah. So, again, unless
keep my boys away from that family.
Yeah, I've got a couple of kids and a possibility out there somewhere. So, and again, it goes back to whether or not, individuals have a social media presence. There's not a lot of people these days that don't, God bless them. I don't. I think social media has its purpose, and
I never did until I started doing the podcast.
Yeah.
I was never on social media.
I remember MySpace, and then MySpace became pretty much obsolete, and everybody went over to Facebook, and it started out slow. But I primarily used it and still use it to this day as a way to stay connected with my family and find former soldiers and people I served with.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, if the person has gone through the process of either removing themselves from social media, they don't have a signature on the web, it can be a little bit more difficult. You can use different services that you can pay for if you have enough information about the individual. But again, how deep do you want to go? How much of a rabbit hole do you want to transcend into to find out some basic information about a person? I'm not 100% sure. And then, if there is a person who doesn't, you gotta start asking like some different questions. If you can't, find information, like what are the minimum requirements? Like if you looked at it if you called the person a candidate, right? What are the minimum requirements for a candidate to be an acceptable candidate to the group? Like what is it that you're looking for in an individual? Like what kind of qualities would you look for that, basically expand the group or make the group better? You know what I mean? What skills?
Right. So you're talking about looking for a person for a group, and instead of vetting an actual group, you're talking about vetting an actual person.
Yeah. And I kind of took it from two different ways. Like if I was starting a group, or a group of us were starting a group, and we were looking for people, what would we look for? And you could actually take these things and you could flip it around as well, because
they overlap for sure.
Yeah. Because if you take a person like, say, for instance, me, if I'm looking at a group, and I've done this pretty much my whole career, my whole life, because I'm not the jump up and down, come look at me person. I like to sit in the background, and I like to watch, and I like to observe, and I like to see, the actions of people, and I like to see how they behave around others, and then watch them individually when nobody's looking.
You're the creepy dude in the corner, aren't you?
I won't say that, but if you want to figure a person out real quick, watch their behavior when they think that nobody's looking at them.
That's true.
It's kind of like being at the beach and you see an old guy who looks really fit. The moment that girl turns her head, he lets that belly go, and that thing is flopping down to his ankles,
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. It's like, integrity really is when a person chooses to do the right thing when nobody else is looking. So what does that person's or that group's, integrity look like when they think that they're not putting on a show? And then
Get some liquor in them.
Oh yeah,
truth serum.
Get the truth liquid out and start drinking that around, and those kinds of things they come out. That stuff will always come out. So we talk about qualities. Skills and requirements are a big thing. If you're looking for a group and you go and you link up with them or just start talking, and they say, "Hey, let's go camp," and that's all they're doing, and just camping or glamping, what do they really know? You don't know, and it's up to you to decide, juice versus squeeze. If we meet up again, is this all we're doing? And camping's cool and all, but if you're looking for a group to go into a potential disaster with, you got to know that they have, skills necessary to actually survive. And then you have to look at yourself and say, do I know what I'm doing? Or am I here to learn and provide support? That kind of thing. So,
and also, if I can add to that, is camping is a great social experiment that you can do with a new group. And once you have a group, like let's say Frank in Ireland, his group goes camping every month, but they are already a group. They know each other. And then what they're doing now is they're not just getting to know each other better and building bonds. They're having fun. They're out in nature. They're exercising, but they're also, honing in on those little survival skills that they have when you naturally come when you go out camping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, along with that kind of same thing, when you're looking at a candidate for work, or you're looking for a group, or, a group is looking for you, there's these soft skills, that every person has. And some of those soft skills are emotional intelligence, persuasive communication, the ability to take direction and, understand it. But also through, some people you have to tell them, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. But at no point in time do they consider I may need to do A, K, and L, because they don't understand implied tasks. Some of those soft skills that people, it takes time to develop them. But that's something that a person has to know how to communicate and with and to a group. So, and then you got to look for candidates, and, you got to look for groups, and how these be identified. How do you identify the skills that they're bringing with them? I know what I bring with me, but what is this group bringing along with them? And is their willingness and my willingness to learn additional skills, is that strong? And then, what kind of attributes would a candidate make for a bad fit? Now, here's the one that, nobody really wants to talk to about, but there are people out there who probably have no business being in any of these groups. And there are some people out there who, maybe they feel pressured to getting into a group. They'll just pick something and go with it. And then they start seeing the red flags, and what are, some of those red flags.
Well, you're right, Jeremy. There are people, there are prepper survivalists, some of whom might be listening right now, that feel that the end is coming. Mm-hmm. When the three of us and people like us, we don't feel the end is coming. It's our prepping and survival. It's our life. It's our lifestyle. It's how we live. So we're not pressured into doing anything. We might be individual goals that we're trying to, pressure ourselves into finishing, but there are actual people out there that are like, I got to find a prepper group. It's all going to come down like the next 6 months. I got to find something. I got to find something.
Yeah.
They really feel that way, and they shouldn't feel that way. We've done a couple of podcasts on fear and other things like that, not to not feel like that, to try and change your mindset to a way of life rather than a rush. I got to do this because the end is coming.
Mm-hmm.
The end is coming and you're not prepared. I mean, what are you worried about anyway? You're done.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, the end is going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and if it doesn't happen in your lifetime, you have to remember this phrase. A lot of people say, well, you only live once. No, you don't. You only die once. You live every day. And every day.
Yeah, you said that in the last episode. And I thought that's a great saying, man.
Yeah. And every day that you live, you're getting another chance to add another little piece or get started in a direction that you hadn't done before. So, but some of the red flags, you know, for groups or individuals, the biggest one, and this is a huge, massive pet peeve of mine, is complaining about former groups or former leadership.
Red flag.
Huge red flag. Not having a general understanding, of any of the tenets of preparedness, other than a small focus, you know what I mean? Being rude to current leadership or group founders. That's another big thing for me. Especially like, let's say we brought somebody into our group, and then they were immediately rude. I'd be like, dude, you got to pound sand. You got to get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Immediately asking about what the group can do for them rather than trying to figure out what they can do for the group. And like the camping aspect that we were talking about, I think it's really cool and it's a great foundation. But me personally, one of the things that I would look for is if, let's say, Joe Schmeckatully over here finished his tent, is he now helping anybody else? Is he
Joe Schmeckatully as well?
He's a good guy, man.
I met him down. He was getting knish in Manhattan. I come down.
He married to Yuli.
Yeah, I come down from Queens. But I mean, that's another, like, that's one of the, I think probably the things that I probably came from, with the military, of course, is when you get in, you get your fighting position set up, you got all your gear done and yada, yada, yada. You turn around and you find out who else needs help. When I went to Ranger School in 1998, that was a huge thing. You got all your gear ready. Hey, do you need help? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need?
Spotlight Ranger.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Disconnect between what was discussed in the initial meet and greet. And then basically, like, if you were talking with a group and, or an individual and they said, yeah, I can do all these different things. And that's their resume, essentially. And then they show up and they definitely lied on their resume. Like, that's a huge red flag, because now that person is going to be the mooch. That person's going to be the one who's depending on everybody else. And of course, the mooch is a man. I can't even begin to tell you how much I hate the mooch.
Yeah, you mentioned that in the last episode.
Man,
80-20 principle, man.
It just drives me. It drives me insane. Like, for instance, and it's a common sense thing. And I know there's a common sense issue all across the world, but like, I work with guys on contract and they smoke. And we're out in the field with special operations candidates for a minimum of 10 days. And they show up and they have literally like a quarter of a pack of cigarettes left. And they're like, yeah, I'm quitting out here. No, you're not.
Oh, hell. That's the worst thing you can hear right there.
Dude, it's like, bro, look, I get it. If you wanted to quit, the fiscal quarter in between these classes was the time to start, bro. Not when you are in the field, stressed out, bored, yada, yada, yada. You're not quitting out here. And no, I'm not giving you any. No, I'm not.
Back in the day when I used to smoke, I mean, anytime somebody asked to bum a cigarette, I said, this is your one. That's it.
Yeah.
I handed it to him. That's it. I'll light it and everything for you, but that's it. There's not going to be another after this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, I mean, if you've got your addictions or you've got your habits or whatever, I mean, dude, bring enough if you
own them. It's your habit. Own it.
Yeah. I smoke and I know what happens if I don't get my smoke and my coffee in the morning. I know how I am. So I want to make sure that I'm going to have enough to last in the duration of time that I need to be there. And if I run out, it's on me and I go crazy. It's okay. That's my crazy. But
so look out for the mooch. So how would you spot the mooch?
It doesn't take long. It does not take long. Especially like in the military world. And I know we talk about the military a lot, but and just take the military out of it. Let's just say you were part of a large camping group and you guys went to go camp quite a bit, throughout the year. It's the dude who shows up and he's like, oh man, I forgot this part to my tent. Or, oh man, I don't have enough of this. I don't have that. And you could hear it immediately. Like immediately. It was usually when everybody's setting up. And you can figure it out real quick. And usually you can spot them at least by that first evening, sitting around the campfire, talking, hanging out, maybe having a drink. One dude pulls out his pack of smokes because he's prepared. And then you see the other guy, hey man, can I bum a smoke? That's the guy right there. He knew it was going to happen. He's already identified himself.
So they didn't bring their own smokes. They didn't bring their own beer. They didn't bring their own food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I've had contractors show up and knowing this is in their prior service military, they know what they're getting into. Dude showed up without a tent in the middle of winter, ended up having to share a tent with another contractor.
Wow. That's
it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And some of it, going back to being prepared and finding your groups and all those different things, if you show up and your willingness to share is a little too strong, then people will pick up on that. If your willingness to share is like based off of a need or you identify a problem, like, yeah, man, I can fix that. I can do that, But if you just keep offering and offering and offering, eventually, one, you're going to get taken advantage of, or two, people are going to wonder, like, why is this dude giving up all of his stuff? Like, what's the deal with this guy? So there's this balance in between. I like to help. I like to figure out problem sets, but I do so out of necessity, popping up field expedient structures or, doing this, fixing something. I'm a gadget guy. I love gadgets and I love field expedient fixes, but I came up that way. I can offer that to someone who doesn't know how to do it. And surprisingly, of course, I was born in the 70s, kind of like y'all, but a lot of people these days don't know that stuff. They don't, you tell them to use the phrase, I'm just going to MacGyver this. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like
he's talking about FECs, man. Field experience fixes. Whatever you call them.
Yeah. It's kind of weird to me, but yeah. So that's some of the stuff to look at in regards to vetting. I'm going to leave the leadership one to you because I have my own thoughts on that. But again, not being in a group and not understanding that, whole aspect of how do you pick these people or this person? I always kind of felt like how we talked about before, if a person starts a group, I think fundamentally in their mind, they have an ownness of that group. So they kind of feel like they should be the one. But they should also have a willingness to accept if there's somebody in the group that's, more experienced, has, whatever above them, they should be able to step back and let someone kind of run stuff, but with the understanding that they're there to provide support, that kind of thing.
A lot of people in their own personal lives, and I have been there myself, feel that they don't have a lot of power, especially people that don't like their job, don't like the work they go to, don't like their bosses. And some people, when they go out I guess what I'm trying to say is not everybody is able to be a group founder or a group leader. If you're going to start your own group, you really should think hard about whether or not you want to actually be the leader, the founder, the group organizer. because not everybody is made for that.
Leaders are, I mean, if you could peel back the onion and get into the whole, what makes a leader, there's a type of person, a type A person who's usually leading the way, because they have the confidence. They're, it's just in their DNA
because it comes natural to you, not because you want to be
looking for
that makes sense.
Yes, that's one of those. I don't like to lead. I mean, I'd rather let somebody else lead, and I'll pitch in when I need to, but I also cannot stand weak leadership. It's just something in my DNA from the even high school and the football team. They had the captain. It's got to be the senior linebacker. Well, I mean, there's times I jump in and lead, and I'm a sophomore, and people are coming to me for leadership and stuff. But I mean, I'm not saying I'm just great leader, but I just jump in when I see weakness or a need, and jump in. But I don't necessarily.
But I also think on the other side of that spoon, there are people out there who, in their mind, believe that they're a good leader or a strong leader, and they seek out positions of leadership because they perceive there is a perception of power that doesn't exist within that realm. But they believe that, like in the motorcycle group that I belong to, there are people who out there and they run for these positions like I have, but they do so because they perceive that there is a source of power that comes from it. And then you talked about a leader who's kind of thrust into the position out of necessity. I have met some of the most spectacular leaders in the military who were put into that position begrudgingly, but it was out of necessity. And then the next thing you know, this dude's doing something that, I mean, should be Medal of Honor material.
Yeah, they flourish in the position.
They do. But, for me, for instance, when I was a leader in the military, I concerned myself with the the bigger picture, with the next level of command's intent. But my focus, I was laser focused on my people and what we were doing. What everybody else is doing, yeah, that's important. That's cool. But I want my guys and gals sometimes trained the way that I deem fit. And anybody who tried to intervene or interfere with that, it really, unless they were providing something constructive to improve what was happening within my element, I didn't like other people getting into the minutia of what we were doing. What we were doing is my concern, as long as it meets the commander's intent and the next level higher commander's intent. And, that's one way of looking at it.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is if you're going to start a group, make sure it's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because I think personally, and I'm a leader type, I think personally joining a group of people is easier and less stressful than starting your own group, because there is a lot of responsibility that comes with starting your own group. It's going to be a nonstop job.
By far.
Make sure you're ready for it.
It's a big workload. Yeah, you got to be ready for it. And a lot of the things we're talking about, joining a group or finding a group to join, or finding a group to join or starting your own group. There's a lot of overlapping, factors in there. There's a lot of things that just straight up overlap. I'm looking for instance, when I'm looking for a group to join, I want strong leadership. I want communication, a two-way communication. I want an organization. And one of the big things people overlook is I want safety, and security. I go to the range and shoot with these guys, and just see how they handle weapons. There's units that I've seen, and I deployed with a unit, and I was like, holy shit, I'm going to die, and I'm going to get shot in the back by my own people. You know what I mean? Because these guys are just that dangerous, and I'm not kidding you. I was thrust into a unit not willingly. And we didn't let this guy deploy with a weapon. I mean, he never left Kuwait, but I mean, shit, this guy was so, oh my God, I another story for another day, but he was so dangerous that they were like, okay, we're going to keep him in Kuwait.
You can take that same thought process into anything, not just shooting, but you can take, like, in other words, if you're in a group, if you join a group or you're now, you're in one and you're kind of just in the stages of vetting them, look for people who are too willing to give out all their information. That can be dangerous, just as dangerous as not being careful with a firearm. Bragging about all the stuff you have and how much stuff you have and where it's located and all that. That's somebody you want to be careful about. That could be a dangerous person.
Yeah, the person bragging about how much ammo and food he's got. I mean, starts the, for lack of a better term, dick measuring. I was a space shuttle door gunner.
I got over 10,000 rounds of 22 long rifle, but I can guarantee you this: you'll never find them. You ain't gonna find them, and I ain't gonna tell you where they are either.
But yeah, you have to watch. I mean, like we've all said this tonight, is people will show their true colors eventually. And you have to watch it, and vetting is a two-way street.
That's true. Like when you go for a job interview, you're not just getting interviewed; you're interviewing them as well. You should be. If you're not, then you're doing it wrong. I finished job interviews and they looked at me and they after they said, "Do you have any more questions?" And we're an hour into the interview and they're like, "Hey, we have to shut this interview off." Yeah, I've had them say, "Wow, we feel like we just interviewed."
If you use the mindset that you're being evaluated every day in everything that you do, it's the same way with groups versus, if you're looking for a group or a group is, reaching out and trying to bring you into their group. I think that, it's a two-way street on evaluation. You're evaluating, or you should be evaluating them just as much as they're evaluating you. The other side of that, though, is it can feel probably like the kabuki dick dance, like it's like, do I tell them this or do I behave a certain way? And I think that feeling like that for some people might actually cause them to act in a manner which is outside of what's normal for them. The way that I act in every day might not be the way that I behaved at work or I behave around, my kids or grandkids or anything like that. You have to be able to adjust your persona till eventually you can start to feel like you don't have to have a hidden side. And if you feel like you have to maintain a, certain hiddenness about yourself, might not be the right group for you.
Yeah. And you should definitely be doing that in the beginning anyway, just because you don't want to give out too much of it. Don't be too enthusiastic. You don't want to be that guy or gal. You just, you don't want to be overly quiet either, but you definitely don't want to. I was in a client's house years ago and just happened to be working in there. And I was talking with him and I had said to him and his wife, I said, yeah, well, what do you do? I do prepping and survival. And that's kind of what takes up my time on the weekends and that sort of thing. And they were like, oh yeah, come here, let me show you this. And they went into their closet and showed me all their stuff. They show me all their storable food, all their guns and weapons. And I'm like, holy shit, dude. I'm thinking all I have to do is wait for them to leave. And I got a year's worth of everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. Don't be that person. Don't be too enthusiastic. Look for the quietest person in the group, and get them to open up. Yeah, because they're just like Jeremy said, he's sitting in the corner watching, right?
The guy that sits in a corner and just doesn't run his mouth. And watch the dude when he gets out in the field, watch his field craft, because words have no, value. It's actions.
How you said, watch how they behave on a gun range. I have, in my career, I have challenged people many, many times, and I've told them, because they'll start talking about, guns and ballistics and all these different things. And I'll challenge them. I'll say, I'll take your weapon, and within 3 rounds, I'll outshoot you with your own weapon. And I love proving people wrong. Cause I'm not the, jump up and down, hey, look at me kind of guy. And you can identify him. I've talked about this before. The guy who hiked up his sleeves a little bit and then crossed his arms and kind of pushed his back a little bit, thrust his hips forward. That stance equals instant douchebag to me. And you can spot them from a mile away.
Yeah, you can usually smell them.
Oh, dude. They smell like Axe,
I was about to say that, man. Smell like Axe and
Axe, hair gel, Monster energy drink, and cheap socks because they haven't invested in good socks and they were more concerned about their muscle shirt.
I haven't had Axe in a long time, but let me tell you something. That stuff could be a lifesaver if you're out in the field for a long couple of hours.
Dude, that stuff smells like
death,
like 1989, a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 and shame.
Would you rather smell? Would you rather smell ass or axe?
Well, I mean, I'll just put it to you this way. Iraq 2003, we went, it was legitimately close to the 4-month mark without the opportunity to bathe. And we were wearing chemical oversuits the entire time. And when they finally said, take them off, it was this big net call over the radio, like hundreds of radios all went off and they were like, hey, you can take off your suits now. And I was wearing, like, we call them PT uniform, like shorts and a t-shirt underneath this thing. But the shorts that I was wearing were from like back in the 90s when I first came in, and I went to go like slide them down and they just broke away from my body. That's how disgusting and rotten they were. And I tossed them in a fire, gave them a salute, and I was like, later, homies. And
you just went gross again.
Yeah, I know. But my first bath, I had the driver. It was a Bradley, and I said, "Hey, man, can you turn your vehicle to the right and knock the cover off of that fire hydrant?" All the water came rushing out. My whole squad just jumped in with soap, and we were just buck naked around 1,000 different dudes. First sergeant came around the corner and he's like, what in the world? And he looked for about 13 seconds, and then him and the sergeant major grabbed their soap, and everybody's naked out there getting blasted by this fire hydrant. And the medic's like, don't get the water in your mouth.
So that's what our tax dollars are going to.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I've taken some field showers that might shock you.
All right. So when it comes to leadership, you can tell how good a leader is to how their team operates when they're not around. And that is really the key to it, is getting people to do things that they may not want to do, but to work as a team and get the job done, no matter what it is. So choosing leadership, how do you choose a leadership team for your prepper group? Or how are you evaluating a leadership team in a prepper group that you're going to join? This is all internet retrieved information. So that is to say that I am not an expert by no means. So some key factors to consider when selecting a leadership team. Number 1, relevant experience and expertise. Look for individuals with proven track records in their respective fields, demonstrating their ability to handle complex situations and deliver results aligned with your mission. Number 2, strong communication skills. Effective leaders must be able to clearly articulate vision, goals, and expectations to their group, as well as actively listen and foster open communication channels with everyone in the group. Number 3, diverse perspectives. Building a team with diverse backgrounds and experiences can lead to more creative solutions and a broader understanding of the direction and goals of the group. Number 4, leadership style alignment. Assess whether potential leaders' styles align with the group's mindset. Number 5, teamwork and collaboration. Evaluate leadership candidates' ability to work effectively with others, build consensus, and foster a collaborative environment for the group as a whole. Number 6, strategic thinking. Select individuals who can anticipate future challenges, develop strategic plans, and make informed decisions to achieve long-term goals. And finally, number 7, cultural fit. Ensure that potential leaders embody the group's values and can positively contribute to the existing organizational structure and mindset. Now, that's a lot of words, but if you use these rules effectively, you'll be able to spot out a good leadership team or build a really good leadership team.
Yeah. And I think that there's a real fine line between you go do now, and making sure that everybody in the group understands the you go do now. Why are they being told you go do now?
Yeah, it's a clear and concise guidance. You got to be a good communicator.
Yeah. And part of that communication within leadership is understanding and really learning how to teach and train as you go along. And I found this out after I had to change jobs within the military more than halfway through my career. You tell a person who doesn't have combat experience, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, and you expect that they should know how to do X, Y, and Z. The problem is that maybe they don't. And, you can, poke your eyeballs out in frustration and have, lava coming out of your face. Or you can say, do you even know what I mean by X, Y, and Z? And then watch their eyes light up as they learn about it.
Yeah. It's that whole teach, coach, mentor,
Yeah, it is. And, I have had positions where I've been a leader within that organization, and I've had to be the, you go do X, Y, Z, just because I said you go do X, Y, and Z. And it sucks. I hate it. I really don't. I don't like it at all. Because that those people are going back and they're like, screw this dude. Why is he so angry at us all the time? And it's not necessarily a place of anger. It's a... sometimes orders come from necessity. And when you start to see things that aren't happening right, then for me personally, I escalate. I give a general, hey, I need you to do this. And then when that thing isn't done, it's like, hey, dude, I told you I need you to do this. And then you start to escalate, and then you start to escalate, until you're just about the level of psychotic episode. It finally gets done. But then if you're having to do that with one individual, it's kind of like you're going back to, do you save the 1 or the 99? It's frustrating sometimes to have to stop what you're doing, teach that person how to do a thing, and then make sure they understand it and watch them do it a couple of times and going back through this and yada, yada, yada. But I think this is an extremely important topic, though, especially nowadays, because we've said multiple times, you're not going to make it on your own. You're not. And I think that those people who really do truly believe that they can make it on their own are actually some of the most dangerous, because, when stuff starts to get rough enough, they're willing to go take from others.
There's no Lone Rangers. And what's the movie with Denzel Washington when he's out there by himself?
Book of Eli?
There's no book. That's fiction.
I love that movie.
Awesome movie, but that's just not going to happen. You're going to have to align yourself with people, because it's just not happening.
Now, not to dig into the movie too much, but the premise behind that was he was being led by the Holy Spirit. He's being given, he was given a task within his faith.
Well, he would need it, because there's no way you're going to do that shit on your own. You know what I mean? Yeah. Get out there and train. It's coming.
My Prepper brothers and sisters, finding like-minded folks can be challenging, but not impossible. The key to finding the right group is patient determination. Take your time. Do not rush in. Get to know them so that you can vet them thoroughly, because they're going to do the same to you. And if they don't care about getting to know you before they welcome you into their group, you don't want them. Just head on down the road, because trust is earned, not given. And keep this in mind, you don't have to stay with a group of preppers long term. Sometimes, like in my case, bonds fall apart. Goals and directions start to separate. If that happens to you, don't burn bridges. Just respectfully part ways. And if you're having a hard time finding a prepper group to call your own, get on the Tops Bunker Facebook group and ask questions. Talk to people. That's what they're there for. You can always ask us. Just hit us up anytime. We're here to help. Stay prepped, stay happy. Thanks for listening, and good night.
I always try to take the long way home. skip familiar places that I know. I always seem to find the open road. I'm looking for it everywhere I go. Hey, this is life in the badlands, badlands. Forget about the reason. Don't know what you're doing. But try to catch the feelings. You make me smile. I just stay a while. This is life in the badlands. This is life in the badlands. I'm always making friends along the way. So pack your bags and let's leave for the day. Take your worries, make them go away. Turn the music up and let's escape. This is life in the badlands. Forget about the reason. Don't know what you're doing. But try to catch the feelings. You make me smile. I just stay a while. This is life in the badlands. This is life in the badlands. So take the leap, help us see. Take some time out of reach. You and me, wild and free. Just believe and follow me. This is life in the badlands. Forget about the reason. Don't know what you're doing. But try to catch the feelings. You make me smile.